Let's take a look at the schedule as we do with all teams here on these Chase's Sports News season previews. This is just tentatively what I would have given their schedule is kind of a way too early record prediction to 9-8. And you mentioned it, like, yes, it's considered the 13th easiest schedule in the NFL just based off of opponent winning percentage from 2024. But I believe this is a brutal schedule. It's sometimes the early week 5 bye, the 6 standalone games, 5 primetime, as we mentioned, and then the week 10 game against the Colts in Germany. Overall, what stands out to you from the schedule and kind of looking at my win-loss projection as well?
I've been saying it since the schedule came out. Weeks 9 through 13, to me, are the most important part of the season for the Falcons. I really believe they need to go at least 4-1 during that stretch. You have them going 3-2. I think they need to go 4-1 in order to have the best possible chance to make the playoffs. Because, like you said, there are a lot of good teams on this schedule that are not. I mean, some of them are road games, a lot of primetime games. It's a tough schedule. But week 9, Patriots. Then you got Colts. Panthers, which they have a tough Panthers. These division opponents are never going to be easy, but the Panthers they're not going to be a great team this year, most likely. Same thing with the Saints; they're probably not going to be a great team this year. And then the Jets. So you have 5 games that are all very winnable if you are where you think you are. If you're a Falcons fan, or if you're in the front office or on the coaching staff, you should be able to beat all of those 5 teams. But I think they need to go at least 4-1. If they don't go at least 4-1, I think it's going to be kind of similar to last year, like you have them 9-8, right? I think it'll be similar to that. But if they go 4-1, then we could be talking about 10-win season, playoffs, and so forth. 9-8, Chase is not a bad record. It would be their best record in 8 seasons, right? But this is also a team that there's expectations for to an extent, and I do think that Coach Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot this could be a make or break year as far as their jobs, and I think I'm not sure if 9-8 is going to be enough to get them there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently just kind of doing this as it's just kind of started. Some of the teams that I've filmed here earlier, preview their seasons, I feel like I have a lot of them in kind of that like 7 to 10 win range. I think kind of fighting for those wild card spots, or in the Falcons case, trying to maybe compete for a weaker NFC South. I think there's just going to be a lot of teams that are in this 8 to 10 win range. You're just all going to be scrapping and clawing for those spots. And I think it's going to make it a really entertaining end of the season. I think just in terms of why I have them 3-2, I think that I don't know if this team is dominant enough or consistent enough, as we know of right now, to go 4-2 in the division. I think they split with all of those teams because I think they can get a great performance against Tampa Bay. I also think they can lay duds against Carolina and New Orleans, just given the foundation of this team. And that's why I do have them going 3-3 in the division, which I always say is okay, but you got to make up wins elsewhere. And when you don't include the divisional games, this team's home schedule, I feel like is so challenging this year. At home against Commanders, they made the NFC Championship game last year. Home against the Bills, they made the AFC Championship game last year. The Dolphins are usually a very competitive team with Tua Tagovailoa under center at quarterback. The Seahawks, a 10-win team last year. Now they have Sam Darnold, who really had that breakout campaign. The Rams were in the divisional round last year, and I think improved this offseason. That is a brutal stretch at home. Those games are supposed to be easier. They're making it very challenging, the NFL schedule makers, for this Atlanta team, and I think they're going to have to capitalize on some of those home games to possibly advance to the postseason. But that is a brutal schedule, in my opinion.
Yeah, that Rams game that you have them losing in week 17. That is going to be a pivotal game, and it's going to be drama because it's Raheem Morris against his old mates, right? And Sean McVay, and there were so many folks on the Falcons right now, the coaching staff, that were part of that McVay tree, and they were with the Rams. So that's going to be a really big game, probably for both teams in week 17. That's going to be kind of a make or break. And even like you said, like the last 5 games of the season for the Falcons are all against NFC opponents, and they're all going to be I think the Cardinals will be jockeying for maybe a wild card too at that point. So it's going to be really, really interesting, which is why, again, I think that weeks 9 through 13, they got to take care of business against those teams, because if they don't, it's going to be a rough go.
My grandfather always had a saying, and he said this in baseball, but he always said, split with the good teams and beat, the worst teams. And I think if Atlanta kind of comes into the season with that philosophy, you're looking at a postseason appearance. And I do think the schedule, they do have some easy patches, but they got to make sure, as you said, they capitalize on those opportunities before they have to play some of the other juggernauts, especially even on their home turf. And that's going to be very challenging, obviously, given that week 5 bye as well.